Did y'all see last night's debate? Yo, Kamala, after last night, is Kamala Harris finally a black woman? Is y'all gonna stop playing with this woman's racial identity and stop saying that she's not black? After last night, were y'all satisfied with her animations and her mannerisms and her facial expressions and everything she gave? Because it was giving black woman. It was giving black woman last night. And not saying that everything is about our mannerisms and about how we present things, but that is a huge part of who we are as people. That is a huge part of our charismas and our mannerisms and our personalities and things like that. We just naturally got big personalities. Not everybody, but like, you know, Kamala did her fucking thing. And so let's jump right into the shits, because we ain't getting into everything, but I definitely was able to get a few clips, and we're going to go over to some of the talking points and things like that. Like, things might not be in order, but we're going to go over the talking points and get into, like, you know, what was going on and whatnot. So
mentions about Israel, all of a sudden, she hates Israel. She wouldn't even meet with Netanyahu when he went to Congress to make a very important speech. She refused to be there because she was at a sorority party of hers. She wanted to go to the sorority party. She hates Israel. If she's president, I believe that Israel will not exist within 2 years from now. And I've been pretty good at predictions, and I hope I'm wrong about that one. She hates Israel. At the same time, in her own way, she hates the Arab population, because the whole place is going to get Israel. At the same time, in her own...
Okay. So, these facial expressions are priceless. Like, oh my... When I say Kamala was staring him down and laughing and just shaking her head and just like, come on, man. Like, that look like, just come on. Like, are you kidding me? With, yo, it was like she was literally up there with a child that's unable to express himself and just fumbling all across his words, and you just letting the child just go on and on and on, and you just looking at him and whatnot. So he was talking about the fact that she hates Israel, which she's just looking at him like, yo, like, Israel, like, you know, like, now granted, I'm not the biggest politics guy. Like, now I've been looking into, you know, trying to pay attention to what I can pay attention to and do the research on what I can do the research to. I must say, I do not know nothing about the Israel and Hamas situation. I understand that there is a war going on, but I cannot speak to what's going on or like give a full down breakdown opinion of what's going on between any of that. But I wanted to talk about how she just was like looking at him and just giving all the facial expressions and just giving off the energy of like, oh my God, like, I really, is this child really just going on and on? But let him go. Let him preach. Let him go. So let's get into another clip from last night's debate because it was a show. This was
President Harris. He says you hate Israel.
That's absolutely not true. I have my entire career and life supported Israel and the Israeli people. He knows that. He's trying to, again, divide and distract from the reality, which is, it is very well known that Donald Trump is weak and wrong on national security and foreign policy. It is well known that he admires dictators, wants to be a dictator on day one, according to himself. Dictators, wants to be a dictator on day one, according to himself.
Okay. So that was her response to his whole "she hates Israel" thing that he had going on. And she pretty much was saying that she don't, I don't know who the fuck was that. Like, fuck is he? You cut, young boy, fuck is he doing? But, anyway, somebody was looking at my car. I might say, hold the fuck up. Like, hold up. Anyway. But, that was pretty much her response that she had to Donald Trump. And pretty much saying that she don't hate Israel. And, you know, that's completely untrue. And she has been supporting Israel. And, you know, they're part of the NATO, which I believe and whatnot. So, that was her response to that. And it was just like, I loved how she was able to relay her point across in a fluid, confident manner. Whereas though he's just sitting there looking grumpy and just not really relaying his points across in a way that makes sense. Like, Donald Trump really wasn't saying much that made sense. Like, if y'all watch last night's debate, y'all will be able to see how she just ran all over him with the words and with her confidence and with her mannerisms and like the way that she was able to present her points and talk about some of the policies. Like, they didn't get that deep into the policies, but they did touch on some of how they would like to approach some of these things, such as climate change, such as abortion, such as fracking, which I had to do some research on, and that is apparently extracting natural resources from the earth and extracting oil, and that's apparently one of the biggest things that we need and to extract our own oil, and that's like one of the big driving points and stuff like that. Like, that might not be, we us niggas down here in the hood and in the streets and shit, we may not give a fuck about that, but most people and whatnot that's in these rural communities and that does matter to, that's a big driving point for them. Like, that's their factories and that's their businesses and things like that. But Kamala was just running circles over Trump, man. Like, Trump was like, you went up against a black woman and she showed out last night, man. Kamala for sure showed out. So let's get into another clip.
Over within 24 hours is because he would just give it up. And that's not who we are as Americans. Let's understand what happened here. I actually met with Zelensky a few days before Russia invaded, tried through force to change territorial boundaries, to defy one of the most important international rules and norms, which is the importance of sovereignty and territorial integrity. And I met with President Zelensky. I shared with him American intelligence about how he could defend himself. Days later, I went to NATO's eastern flank, to Poland and Romania. And through the work that I and others did, we brought 50 countries together to support Ukraine in its righteous defense. And because of our support, because of the air defense, the ammunition, the artillery, the javelins, the Abrams tanks that we have provided, Ukraine stands as an independent and free country. If Donald Trump were president, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv right now. And understand what that would mean, because Putin's agenda is not just about Ukraine. Understand why the European allies and our NATO allies are so thankful that you are no longer president, and that we understand the importance of the greatest military alliance the world has ever known, which is NATO, and what we have done to preserve the ability of Zelensky and the Ukrainians to fight for their independence. Otherwise, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv with his eyes on the rest of Europe, starting with Poland. And why don't you tell the 800,000 Polish Americans right here in Pennsylvania how quickly you would give up for the sake of favor and what you think is a friendship with what is known to be a dictator who would eat you for lunch. Eyes on the rest of Europe, starting with Poland. And why don't you tell the 800,000 Polish Americans right here in Pennsylvania how quickly you would give up for the sake of favor and what you think is a friendship with what is known to be a dictator who would eat you for lunch.
So that eat you for lunch is definitely going to be one of the driving points from this. It's definitely going to be one of the highlights, because that was a bar. That was a bar. That was a bar. But I want to send prayers out to the whole country of Ukraine, because that war literally broke out and it's just been going on, and we haven't heard any coverage about it since it has been going on. It started and we stopped hearing about it. So if you're not doing no research into the situation, one could assume like, oh, well, the war ended, or like, well, what's going on? Or we don't even know that Ukraine is even still at war with Russia. Well, that's because the media is not even covering it anymore. And if you're not doing the research to know, yeah, they're still at war. But one of the things that people was definitely angry about was sending all this money that they sent over to the Ukrainian people. That enraged so many Americans, and that is one of the things that even was driving people towards going to Donald Trump, because people was just getting tired of like, oh, y'all helping all these other countries, but y'all not helping the people at home. We got niggas over here and that's homeless that still need shit. Food is high, inflation is high, gas is still high, rent's fucking skyrocketing through the roof. Niggas can't keep food in their mouth, can't keep fucking rent, can't keep a roof over their head. Niggas can't buy us clothes and shoes. Motherfuckers ain't got cars. Motherfuckers is living house to home. Like, shit is fucked up out here. So, niggas did not, people was tired of saying the Ukrainian money being sent over there. But they did need the help. They needed it. And without the help of NATO and without the help of American, like she said, Putin would have taken over. And it probably would not have stopped with just Ukraine. Who's to say what would have happened if he would have took over and then he would have linked up with Kim Jong-un in North Korea, and now we just don't know what's going to happen in the world. So, that's what was going on that's what they had to say about that. Let's get into another clip from last night. Oh, this one was funny.
They're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country. And it's of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country. And this is what's happening in our country.
No, we got to see that again. That right there just about took.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country. And it's of the people that live.
People, they're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. They're eating the animals, people. The fucking scavengers and the fucking immigrants coming over the borders. They're eating the dogs. Hide your dogs. Hide your cats. Put them in the house, please. Even Kamala cracked the fuck up. That shit right there. Bruh. Trump, what the fuck was you talking about when that was just crazy? And then if you watch the debate last night, the man tried to fact check that shit and told Donald, we have the mayor of Springfield here. He said those claims are not true. No, there have been no reports of cats and dogs being eaten in the city. And I just wanted to say that. I just was about cracking the fuck up when I watched that shit. Now, granted, I watched that shit today because I was doing homework and shit last night. So that shit was hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Like, oh my God. So that was that. Did y'all see the way Kamala was get to that smile, getting to her cracking the fuck up, just looking at him like, oh my God, like, nigga, is you serious? Are we serious right now? Are we really serious right now? And he was dead ass serious. Like, she's looking at him like, yo, you know how like you know a nigga is lying, and you done got the whole scoop, you done got the whole rundown on the nigga activity, you done know where he been, who he done been with, and who done seen, you done got the whole drop on the nigga. And he just running you this whole fucking tell. Whole time you just looking at the nigga. Look, just letting him talk. Cause you didn't got the whole drop, but you just want to let him run his movie. Let him run his fucking lie. Let him run. Let him run. Cause I'm gonna kick it to this fucking nigga. Like, what? Yo. Absolutely fucking hilarious. It was a show last night. It was a fucking show. I was in here cracking the fuck up. So yeah. Let's get to one more clip from last night. Another clip. We got two more.
Her father's a Marxist professor in economics, and he taught her well. But when you look at what she's done to our country, and when you look at what she's done to our country, and when you know she's a Marxist.
Wait, get to the face. Get to the face. It was the facial expressions for me. It was the Kamala, she wanted to fucking crack up on that stage last night. It was fucking hilarious. Oh my God. Like, just looking at him like, just, oh my God, like, yo, are we kidding me? Are you serious? So I'm glad she did this. I'm glad we needed this. We needed these mannerisms. We needed the theatrics. We needed the entertainment factor of this shit, because Donald Trump be up there running amok when he get to running his motherfucking mouth. He just get to tearing you down. You this, you that, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. Yeah, I didn't like this, man, and all this shit. I can't even remember half the shit that was coming out his fucking mouth, because it was just so much shit that wasn't making no motherfucking sense. Like, when he said, oh my God, did y'all see when he said, oh my God, I wish I would have got this clip. When they was talking about the healthcare thing and they asked him, do he still got a plan? And he said, after all these years, he ain't got no plan. It's still no plan, and Obamacare is still the better plan. Oh, it was, oh my God, it was too much. It was too much. Like, yeah, politics is a fucking reality show at this point. It is literally hilarious watching these people run a fucking muck and just on this stage. So yeah, let's get into the last clip. This is the last clip that I got from last night, because this was just more into the body language. Look at this person said, if that ain't the language for a motherfucker, then nothing is. So this is what she was saying.
Former president, this former president.
Yeah, this, it was when she said this, and she looked that nigga up the fuck and down. Oh, Kamala, clap it up for Kamala Harris last night for putting on an absolute fucking show. She put on an absolute show last night. Yeah, I had to turn the light on because it was getting a little dark. But she put on an absolute fucking good show last night, far as the theatrics and things like that. Far as the points that they got into, they did talk about their stance on abortion and how Donald Trump, he did say that he doesn't want a federal wide ban on abortion, and he wants to give the power back to the states. That is something that he did emphasize last night. And Kamala did say, of course, that she wants to reinstate Roe versus Wade and completely just give the power back to the women and their primary physicians. And that's always where I've stood. That's how I grew up. Like, a woman should always have the right to do what she wants to do with her body. Yeah, us as men should have a input or should be, involved, but ultimately it is a woman's body and things like that. But I'm not even about to go deep into that, but that was some of the points that they did speak about. They also spoke about the whole fracking thing and extracting oil and using energy, and how we need new resources for energy, and how we need to go back to a clean source. And he was just complaining about how the solar panels, it take too much desert space. And Kamala was saying that she's actually giving more free renting, free leasing out for more fracking and energy sources. And but we do need to find better energy sources, because that was another thing that they talked about. They also talked about the climate change, and they didn't really get into like a bill and further so to speak, but they did speak about climate change and how climate change definitely needs to be addressed, and there needs to be a bill to address the heavy increasing heat that we all been experiencing. If you don't believe in climate change, just walk the fuck outside. It's evident. Everything's different. The whole yeah. So that's that. And what else did they talk? Those are some of the main points that I remember them speaking about from watching the debate. But those are some of the clips that I wanted to go over, because I found them to just be hilarious. Oh my God. Like I said, if y'all didn't believe that Kamala wasn't black, she showed her ass last night on that stage and put on a fucking hell of a show for the people. The stare downs, the facial expressions, the body language, and then the confidence and the poise and the way that she was able to speak and the way that she was able to relay her points across. Plus, watching her versus watching someone who's just being nasty and selfish and just up there not really making sense when you're speaking about the points. It just seems as though you are trying to incite your fan base, incite the people that support you, and just say rambunctious things and outlandish insults and all types of things. They even spoke about the Fab Five, or the guys that Donald Trump came out and said that, you know, those guys need to be punished because they pled guilty to raping that girl. And then it came out that they didn't do that to that girl. And, you know, they was innocent. And he still didn't come out to ever back the fact that they was innocent. And they got into all of that. Like, it was just a lot. So I'd recommend to watch the debate. Do your research on whoever you feel as though you want to vote for. But, like, how could you still stand with this man? Y'all want to talk about how old Biden is? Donald Trump is damn near the same age. He may be a little bit more intact and a little bit more energetic, but like, come on now, y'all. Come on now. So we'll see what happens when this country, when the voting happens, and we all will be paying attention. And yeah, shout out to Kamala Harris. She did her thing last night. She did her fucking thing last night.